All right, it's another Wednesday afternoon. I want to say welcome to Flipside. I'm Daisy Leo Asikidi, for those who do not know. And for those who are ardent viewers of this program, I want to say thank you for always making it a date with me right here on television. It's good to know that even though we're done talking here, we always upload our videos on YouTube so you can catch up on whatever episodes you've missed out on. And as I'm speaking right now, you can actually watch our videos on our social media platforms. Today, we're going to be talking about an issue that I'm sure you've heard over and over and over and over and over again for the past 3 weeks. For the very learned persons, I know this week your timeline has been flooded with updates on the coronavirus pandemic. As of last week, I wanted to talk about this, and the question of is it an epidemic or it's a pandemic was top on my mind to ask. But okay, what it says is a pandemic now. But for those who do not know what the word pandemic means, maybe you get to know before the show is over. There's so many questions people are asking. We have answered as much as we can as a media house, but I know there's still a lot more that we need to sort out. Are you maintaining social distance? Do you even know what that is? For those who took bus today. Okay, you really want to stick around, stay with us from start to the end of this episode today to learn as much as you can, because protecting yourself is what matters. If you don't have life, you can't get the wealth you're pursuing. But before we get into our discussion, before you meet my guest, I'll go on a break on It's About You. We have a video on aloe vera and some of its uses. Some people are even using the aloe vera now to make hand sanitizers that they can use for a day, and then the next day they make it again and again. So let's quickly have that video. You will meet my guest after that. We'll get talking about the updates on the coronavirus for today.
When I don't hear about the new sickness where they kill people all over the world, whether they call coronavirus, this sickness no they look face so as it fit by person sharp. One of the ways to know say person don't get am, now when the person get fever and come they cough and sneeze join, and it come they hard the person to breathe. If it don't come be that the sickness not get any vaccine, treatment or cure now. How you fit make sure say you not get am and say this sickness not spread? Since the way to get am now when you breathe am in or through your eyes and mouth, the better thing to do now to wash your hands every time with soap and running water for at least 20 seconds. Try make you know they touch your eyes, nose and mouth. When you want cough or sneeze, use tissue paper, take cover your mouth or nose and throw away the tissue wella one time and quick wash your hand. Tissue where you go use throw away, better pass handkerchief where you go use put for pocket too. If you not get tissue, use the corner of your elbow, take cover your mouth when you want cough or sneeze. No dey touch things anyhow. The more where you not take touch surfaces, hand raise, ATM buttons and many more, the more it go hard for the sickness to reach where you dey. Try make you not dey near people too much, especially the one where you get cold, cough and they sneeze well. Some people fit don't get am but he never show wella for him body. If you get fever, cough and to breathe come dey hard, quickly call Edo State Infectious Diseases Response Team with these numbers 080-840-96723 or 080-642-58163 or 080-358-35529. Or waka go the isolated centers where they Edo State for Stella Obasanjo Hospital, University of Benin Teaching Hospital UBTH, Irua Specialist Hospital, Edo Central Hospital, Edo Specialist Hospital, and Auchi General Hospital. No get coronavirus, and if you get them, no spread them. This message now from Independent Television and Radio.
The aloe vera plant is considered to be a miracle plant because of its numerous curative and healing benefits. Aloe vera is a green plant whose leaves are filled with a white gel containing vitamins A, B1, B2, B3, B6, B12, C, E, and folic acid. It is also filled with minerals like copper, iron, sodium, calcium, zinc, potassium, chromium, magnesium, and manganese. All these nutrients have tremendous health benefits. Health experts regard aloe vera as nature's most impressive and versatile herb. This herb is safe to use externally and internally. People across the globe use aloe vera for treating various health conditions ranging from minor burns to cancer. Some of the uses of aloe vera externally include hair loss treatment. Use pure aloe vera gel to combat hair loss. Massage aloe vera into the scalp. Leave it on for an hour before you shower. It will strengthen hair follicle and promote hair growth. Aloe vera can also be used for acne treatment. Aloe vera has antibacterial properties in it and is very effective in treating acne problems, and it also reduces redness caused by skin bacteria. Take fresh aloe vera, peel the top layer off, apply the gel directly on affected area, leave it on overnight. If required, rinse it off with cold water. Aloe vera is a cure for stretch marks. Aloe vera is very beneficial in curing many skin problems, including stretch marks. Aloe vera has excellent healing properties. Instead of using store-bought gel, get fresh aloe vera gel because it is more effective. You can take the leaf, remove its skin, take out the sticky gel. Apply this fresh sticky gel on your stretch marks. After 2 to 3 hours, wash it off. Aloe vera can also be used to treat burns and scars from hot water, fire, or kitchen heat producing equipments. Aloe vera can also be used internally for many things. Once you drink it, it works for several internal ailments at the same time. Drinking aloe vera juice regularly gives the body a regular supply of antioxidants, which can boost and enhance the immune system. When consumed often, aloe vera juice helps to increase energy level, thereby maintaining a healthy body weight. Aloe vera is extremely helpful for your mouth and gums due to its natural antibacterial and antimicrobial properties. The vitamins and minerals in it promote cell growth and healing of bleeding gums and mouth ulcer. Aloe vera juice has natural fiber that aids digestion and improves bowel movement. Being a natural laxative, aloe vera juice can also be used to treat constipation. When you have overfed yourself, just take a glass of natural aloe vera juice. This will aid your digestion and prevent constipation. Aloe vera juice can also help relieve heartburn, arthritis, rheumatism pain. You can drink aloe vera juice to also lower blood sugar levels, especially when you have diabetes. So, you might take aloe vera juice for one particular ailment, but in the process, it works for every other thing in your body. For asthmatic patients, just boil some aloe vera leaves in a pan of water. Breathing in the vapor helps to alleviate your asthma. Your body is your responsibility. Take good care of it.
Advice to
All right, thank you for watching. Yes, aloe vera is really very good. I'm not saying it's a cure for coronavirus, but our reaction to the coronavirus pandemic is what we're going to be looking at on today's edition of the show. How we're dealing with it, how we're handling it, the level of awareness we're creating. Are people even aware? I have a guest in the house and you're going to meet her shortly. About 3 weeks ago or 4, we talked on coronavirus on Flipside. She was here, and she was here with a lab scientist, and together they gave us tips on how to protect ourselves. Then we've never heard, we didn't even hear any story of coronavirus coming to Nigeria. And now we know coronavirus is in Nigeria. So I had to bring her back here because the way we are going about the whole coronavirus case, I don't know if it's the right way, but as a professional, she will be talking to us on our reaction to the coronavirus pandemic. I'm talking about Dr. Seremi Ibadin. Good to have you on the show.
Hello, Daisy. Good to have you. Good to be here as well.
Yes, and she is actually the secretary of the Edo State chapter of the Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria. Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria. She is the state secretary of Edo State chapter. Good to have you here again. Now, it will shock you that today's show, we did make arrangements to have several people on set to come talk about this. Unfortunately, with the outbreak, health practitioners seem to be very occupied. And so for her to have come here today, we value it because we knew it took her a lot of sacrifice to get here, and our establishment to release her to come talk to us on this. Now, let's start with the issue of the news that keeps coming on social media. Coronavirus. A lot of people know about it now. A lot more still do not know. We did a survey I was on the news on Monday. It was on the news. So they went to the parks to interview drivers on their preparedness for this coronavirus outbreak if we record a case in Benin, which we did that evening. And then the drivers were like, the few that were on the news, what is coronavirus? They said different names. They called it different names. They didn't even know the right name. Please don't judge me. I know one of our senators called it coronavirus. I know someone called it COVID-19, but these drivers, some of them didn't even know the right pronunciation. And then our reporter was trying to sensitize them, like, you need to have hand sanitizers in the bus, and please don't carry 4 passengers on the seat. And the man laughed. Like, what do you mean by don't carry 4 passengers on my chair? Do you know how much I pay for tickets? So, and all that stuff. So, and many people are talking about social distancing. So, let's start with the old talk on social distancing. What does it mean? And how we can actually enforce it.
Okay. Well, the issue of coronavirus is this. It's a respiratory virus. Many of us are aware that we've had respiratory viruses over the years worldwide. But this particular virus is a coronavirus, is a new type of coronavirus. That's why, it's being called, it was nCoV, coronavirus 19, COVID-19 for short. It is transmitted from person to person by droplet infection. What that simply means is, if I have the infection and I cough or I sneeze or I'm too close to you when I'm talking, then I can transmit it to you through my airway. And then, when these droplets get on our surfaces, mucous, mouth, eyes, any of our mucous membranes, it can get into the body, and then you also get to have the coronavirus. What does coronavirus actually cause? It's a respiratory virus primarily, and so the symptoms basically are symptoms that we are well aware of, symptoms of common cold, but then it could be worse in most people, in some people, even though most people may be asymptomatic or just have mild symptoms. So we talk about cough, catarrh, runny nose, sneezing. Fever is one of the symptoms of coronavirus that we should take note of. And then in people who have more severe illnesses, they have problems with breathing, difficulty breathing, and then it becomes life-threatening for some people. So coronavirus essentially is like a common cold. It's just that it could be much worse. It could result in pneumonia. It could result in death. So we have to be aware of this as well. And it's spread just pretty much the same way I have described, from person to person. The thing is that because of the nature of coronavirus and the way it is spread, we talk about social distancing. So that's where the issue of social distancing comes in. We have to be aware that the person standing next to you may have the virus. The person standing next to you may have come in contact with somebody who has the virus. And so there is need to ensure that we take these precautions. So what do we simply mean by social distancing? One, we should keep at the back of our minds that we should limit non-essential movements and contacts with people. Even when we come in contact with people, we should maintain a distance, especially from somebody who has symptoms of cough, catarrh, common cold. A distance of at least 2 meters. That's what the NCDC advises us. That's like standing 3 steps, long steps away from the person, so that the droplets, at least it reduces the chances that the droplets can get to you and then infect you. In addition to that, we should avoid unnecessary contact. When we greet people, oh, how are you? Handshaking. It's not advisable at this point in time. We're advised to stay away from unnecessary contact, handshaking, hugging people close, and so on. We should stay away. You can greet people pleasantly. Oh, hello, how are you? You're communicating with them. Now, the main challenge in this is that we go about our daily lives. And that's what we are still doing, even though the government has advised that non-essential movements should be restricted. People should take responsibility and then avoid going into crowded places. In fact, Edo State government has said that no gatherings of more than 20 people should happen, and we should take these measures very seriously. It applies to religious gatherings, it applies to social gatherings, it applies to even formal or official gatherings. And so this includes churches, schools, and many other places we may wish to gather. So these are part of the social distancing measures. If you don't need to be somewhere, you don't need to go there. So we really need to rethink our movements and make sure that our movements are crucial and essential. You may have to seek health care, you may have to buy foodstuffs. Those are essential activities for everyday living. But when you're talking about attending somebody's birthday party or quickly going for XYZ's mother's burial, now those types of gatherings are non-essential. And we need to take this issue of coronavirus seriously because of the way it is spread. If we look at where we are now worldwide, you can see that the number of cases are increasing and increasing daily around the globe. It is true that the virus is self-limiting in some people, causes mild to moderate illness, but for the small percentage of people who would have severe symptoms, the small percentage of people who would die, it is our responsibility to protect them. And what can we really do to protect them except social distancing? That's one of the measures, and we also have to take other necessary measures. So social distancing is key, because I'm talking about that first because, you mentioned that first,
Yes.
that you were at the bus park and then people were talking about I shouldn't carry 4 passengers, how do I pay my bills? Unfortunately, these are real considerations we have to make in our everyday lives as we try to, navigate our way through this pandemic. But it is necessary that we take these measures into consideration and implement them in our daily lives. A bus driver should not be talking about carrying 2 passengers in his front seat, 4 passengers at the back. That is an overcrowded arrangement. And in fact, it is because public transport is essential and we are still, the government has not said we should restrict public transportation. We are advised to avoid it when necessary. But if we look at other countries, a lot of public transport systems are shutting down because it's inevitable that when you put people into public transportation, there's some closeness between them. So these are some of the considerations we should keep in mind. We are not calling for panic. No, the public doesn't need to panic. Panic is not helpful. We need to work with facts and what we know. And social distancing is one of those measures. I'm sure as we go along in the show, we would then talk about other measures we need to be implementing.
Okay, still talking about the reaction to the coronavirus pandemic. We have updates on WhatsApp. In fact, WhatsApp seems like the fastest way to broadcast messages these days. It's on someone's status. Everyone who views it just copies and they paste without verifying. Now, I have several voice notes on my WhatsApp of people saying that there is a serious case of coronavirus in Edo. As of 2 weeks ago, I had a voice note that there was a case in Benin City. Now, we had not officially announced there was a case. And the guy went on and on to give reasons why he said there's a case, and the person who brought it traveled from Italy, and his family members are taking care of him. So he's very sure it's not one case, but we should be assured that by the next week we'll start hearing things. And somehow the next week we start hearing things, and by this week we've heard properly. It almost seemed like what he was saying was true. But following that, I've had several others. Is it Irua? I've even seen pictures of the so-called coronavirus patients in one of these hospitals looking for ventilators they couldn't get. We don't know if that's a recent video. We don't know if that's an old video. Not forgetting that WhatsApp someone can send a picture
and it goes very far.
and you don't know who actually the source. So do you think we should rely on the data people are posting on social media, or we should only focus on the newspapers and information on television at this time?
Well, it's crucial for us to manage the way we handle information, especially in pandemics, because misinformation creates fear, creates panic, and then it can also lead people to take wrong measures. Regarding the reported cases of coronavirus here and there, we should be aware that we have the NCDC, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, and they are the control house for managing this pandemic. It's a a parastatal of the Federal Ministry of Health, and so they've taken charge of managing this pandemic, and they are the formal channel for communicating number of cases alongside the Federal Ministry of Health and respective state governments where there are cases of coronavirus. We should, in terms of who is a case, confirmed case, we should work with facts that we have been provided with by the government. Of course, there's fear, there's speculation. Oh, this person came from Italy yesterday. This person came from Germany. This person was in US 3 days ago. This is why we have social distancing measures, because we know in fact that coronavirus can spread from person to person, and we cannot be too careful. We should take note that the government is doing all it can right now in Nigeria, and we are to support them by our activities. What do we need to do to support them? If you feel that somebody has a travel history or history of contact with somebody who had a travel history and then is a suspected or confirmed case of coronavirus, the onus lies on you to self-isolate and to reach out through the designated channels. There are numbers to call, really, when we suspect that we have cases of coronavirus. I'm sure I would leave such numbers in your studio at the end of the show, because I know a lot of people call in to you. Yeah. But the NCDC has a toll-free number. Even the Edo State government has released numbers that the general public can call. So we should be looking to these formal channels for verified information. I cannot overstate the troubles with presenting rumors and circulating them. They are just not helpful. They create fear, they create panic, and then they lead people to do irrational things. Oh, drink garlic water. Oh, there have been so many rumors like that.
My husband drank garlic water this morning.
You see the point we are trying to make. These are not the helpful things that we need to be doing. So please, let's focus our attention on verified information. Let's work with facts. Let's allay our fears, work with facts, take responsibility, and collaborate with the government. If the government says, don't go to schools, I'm sure there's no school open right now. Schools have closed down.
Yes.
Places of worship have been told that we don't accept religious gatherings of more than 20 people, or any gathering of more than 20 people for that matter. We need to take these measures in place. And we also need to take our sanitation and hygiene importantly. Hand washing is one of the key preventive measures in this coronavirus pandemic. We need to know that we should take these measures seriously. Don't look at the person next to you and say, this is my brother or my sister. No, we need to wash our hands frequently. In fact, as often as every 20 minutes in a day, especially for those of us who are not locked in our houses going nowhere. You go to work, at your place of work, take out some time, wash your hands with soap and running water for at least 20 seconds. That's about singing happy birthday in your mind 2 times. And you need to wash your hands thoroughly. There was a video on the screen that I saw, so I'm sure you guys will play the commercial again. And
yes,
then
we will.
People will be educated on all these measures. Hand washing is one of the key measures, thoroughly with soap and water. And then we have our hand sanitizers, alcohol-based hand rubs that we can use intermittently as we go about our day. What this does is that it kills germs, so it helps us to keep safe, because we really don't know. Aside from somebody coughing or sneezing, people touch surfaces. Somebody coughs on their hand or sneezes or wipes their face and then touches another surface. You come in contact with that surface. We really need to be careful in terms of people spreading information. We should focus on the facts and spread information that is helpful. Information about how to prevent the spread of the virus. That's what we should really focus on. We should know that we are doing our best in general to inform the public, and also working with the government to do contact tracing. It's true that people returned into Edo State from different parts of the world here and there. So the government is working, and we are working. Public health organizations are working and collaborating with partners to trace people. If you had a travel history, or there's somebody who tested positive to COVID-19, you've been in contact with that person. Generally in Nigeria, we're working to do that tracing so that we can identify people, test them, isolate them, and give them the necessary care and treatment they need, and also their contacts so that we can curb the spread. And again, we'll talk about this issue of social distancing because it's very important. It breaks the chain. If you don't spread it from one person to another, it breaks the chain, and then the most vulnerable are protected. Because people think coronavirus is a small issue. So many people have the virus. They say their symptoms are mild. their symptoms are moderate. But there are some vulnerable people, people with pre-existing medical conditions and illnesses, people with asthma, people who have low immunity in our community, the elderly. Those people are the worst hit by the effects of this virus. They are the ones who are more likely to suffer severe symptoms, to go into respiratory failure, and death occurs. But that's not to say that young people are immune. That's another rumor that I think has been circulating, and people just think that I'm young, I'm not, even if I have it, nothing bad will happen to me. You can't say that for certain, 100%. So we really need to. We should understand that a lot of people like to trade blame and to blame the government. Why did the government not do this on time? Why did the government not do that on time? You have to ask yourself what you can do. Are you doing it? Are you maintaining a social distance? Are you washing your hands? Are you practicing good respiratory hygiene? If you have cough or cold, now is not the time to go to your place of work or to socialize or to mingle with people. Maintain your distance from people and make sure that if you cough or sneeze, you have a tissue that you can sneeze into and dispose of hygienically in a closed bin, and then wash your hands. And you can also sanitize your hands and surfaces where you live. If you have somebody you're taking care of who has a cough or a cold, you also need to take these measures into place. And then if somebody has fever or a history of contact with anybody who may have tested positive or travel history to any of those other countries where it has been coronavirus, and there are quite a lot of them worldwide, it's a pandemic, then you need to reach out to the appropriate health authorities through the necessary channels. We would leave the numbers in your studio as well. So those are some of the measures we need to take. There's no cause for panic, but there's cause for alertness, and we should be prepared and take responsibility for ensuring that we keep ourselves safe and we keep our loved ones safe.
Okay, if you've not learned anything from everything she said, personally, I've learned something, and you're going to see that reflects, for those who follow me on social media and those who have my WhatsApp contacts, you would see that on my status today. Any information that is not going to help me, protect me, any information that is not going to make me safer, I don't want to hear it. Please keep your stories of who died and who didn't die. Keep your woes. I want to know what's happening in the world, but please tell me how. I prefer to hear more about how I can make myself safer. So I think that makes a lot of sense. But you all be careful what you send on WhatsApp. Now, you talked about some other rumors that social media has helped spread. The garlic water. I woke up this morning and my husband told me, please boil garlic for me to drink. I'm like, why garlic? They said it kills corona, so we had to boil garlic. I didn't take it, but it took enough of that. I just imagine how it's going to smell around Benin with that garlic smell. There's that rumor. There's the other one of take hot tea in the morning and hot tea in the night. I don't know if it's green tea, black tea, or chocolate drink. Then there's also the rumor of heat limiting the spread. It was before, the first one was heat kills the virus, so that's why we didn't have it in Nigeria. But now that it has come, so they say it limits the spread. And coronavirus does not kill a black man, a hardcore black man. Any black man that has died might have a little bit of America in him. There's also that one. Then the one that is epic is the talk of alcohol killing it. Alcohol-based sanitizer they say we should use. But I've also seen on WhatsApp that if you drink enough alcohol, it works. Someone sent it to me. I think that was yesterday. In fact, it was a group chat and said we need to get original ogogoro. So every 1 hour, we should take a shot of the ogogoro to prevent the coronavirus. I find all of these hilarious, but I don't know if there are some elements of truth to it.
Well, it's sad. I want to start by saying it's sad because people actually share this news and then believe them to be true. I can't say it so many times. We need to work with facts and the advice we are being given by public health institutions, authorities, and the government. The issue of taking alcohol, drink 1 shot of ogogoro every 1 hour, that is the harmful thing you can't do to yourself at a time like this. Because alcohol has many harmful effects on the body. Even alcohol can cause liver failure. Alcohol can make people disinhibited. You lose your judgment. You don't even know what you are doing. anymore. And it does nothing to prevent you from having coronavirus. The only place alcohol comes in is in the alcohol-based hand sanitizers. And why are we talking about that anyway? To sanitize our hands, to keep our hands clean. So ingesting alcohol is a damaging measure that anybody can implement. And that's what we're just talking about in the previous point of sharing only information that is verified and sent by relevant authorities. The rumors, please, I can't tell people that they should believe these rumors because that will be hurtful to everybody. Drinking garlic water, drinking, what did you say, hot tea kills the virus?
Yes, in the morning, and it's like a medication.
So
one cup in the morning, another cup before bed.
There is no reality behind these rumors that has been proven to be effective. We should understand that this virus is a new virus and we are still discovering more about it and should only work with facts and figures. All these native remedies or suggestions and so on and so forth, sure, nothing will happen to you if you drink a cup of tea in the morning and evening, but don't drink it and think that you are then immune from coronavirus, or then you've protected yourself, or then there is no need anymore for you to report when you think you have coronavirus. That would be deleterious to your health and to the health of the people around you. So we should avoid believing such rumors. We should avoid spreading such rumors. They're not helpful. The one about alcohol is very alarming because somebody can believe it somewhere and then begin to intoxicate themselves with alcohol and find themselves in the hospital. You're avoiding coronavirus. You're sending yourself to the hospital with liver failure. So we should, as a matter of urgency, stop sending these messages. And if anybody sends you such a message, please educate them. If you receive that message on your social media platform, please counter it with facts. Circulate. There are many messages, many informational pictures on the net that are circulating from the WHO, from the NCDC, from health institutions, from the government. Those are the things that we should propagate and push forward. Drinking garlic, well, maybe he just felt like having a drink of garlic this morning. That does not protect him in any way.
Yeah. And then I've heard a lot this period, for real. Yesterday, a friend told me that you need to chew bitter cola, and it works. I'm like, okay, I knew about bitter cola for cough, but do you think, he said, is it not cold? What are some of the symptoms of the coronavirus? This person I'm talking about is very educated. What are some of the symptoms of the coronavirus? It's not the same cold. Chop bitter cola and everything. Wow. So, for the coronavirus, not the heat limiting its spread. Is there any facts to back it up?
The only facts we have about coronavirus is that it is a virus. The current COVID-19 is a coronavirus. It is spread via the respiratory tract from person to person. It is highly infectious. A lot of people may be asymptomatic or have mild to moderate symptoms. Some people will have severe life-threatening disease, and a small proportion of people will actually die from this virus. We can prevent the spread of this virus by maintaining a social distance. That's what we call social distancing. Hand washing with soap under running water frequently. And why are we talking about hand washing and sanitizing? Because you pick up these viruses if you come in contact with somebody who has it. So this is a way to rid yourself, to make sure that you don't transmit it to yourself. Avoid touching your face. Avoid being in public places if you already have a cold. If you have pre-existing health conditions that may make you more vulnerable to coronavirus, then the onus lies on you to ensure that you in fact champion these measures in your communities and wherever you may be, so that you protect yourself, other people protect you. The coronavirus issue is like, what we need to do as members of the public is to look out for one another, to be responsible for the next person's health by washing our hands, making sure that you stay away if you are sick, you have symptoms of respiratory tract illness. You sneeze or cough into a tissue and dispose it in a covered bin hygienically. If you don't have one, you're caught off guard. You sneeze into the crook of your arm. We mentioned it the other day when I was here on the show. And then you wash your hands thoroughly. We have a lot of people in our environments who are vulnerable, and this is the reality. So we need to protect them. The measures go beyond just the government shutting the border or government has to look for everybody who has coronavirus. These are important measures that we have taken. But we, everybody, you and I, we have measures that we need to implement in our daily lives to ensure that we keep each other safe.
Okay, now, for those, if you notice, there's a very big distance between Dr. Seremi and I. On air, we had to maintain social distance even while we were on air to an extent. And then we did not shake hands when we saw. In fact, I was almost tempted to hug her, but no, this is coronavirus season. Even when I was coming close, she looked at me one kind, and even me, I realized, oh, no, we're not doing that. And before we came on air, we had to sanitize our hands, and we sat down, even though we didn't shake hands. I mean, I'm going to touch this chair, and I'm sure someone else just used the chair, and other people will still use this chair and this table for other programs. So we're also doing all we can to be careful. If you come into ITV at this time, from the gate you find soap, running water. You get to the reception, you find another bucket there with water. The toilets, everywhere, like every corner, because we are essential workers. The police at this time, because of coronavirus, will not stop patrolling. Doctors will not sit at home and say they want to self-isolate. In fact, they have to be at work, health workers in general. Media will always open so that they can give you information. Road safety and several other organizations which are very essential. Even if it's public holiday, we don't observe anything. We have to work to let everything in the system work smoothly. So we do our own little things in our ways to also protect ourselves and our staff. I would ask you one more question before I go on a quick break. There's always this thing about stigmatization. I think it's easier for someone to be in the US and say, I have HIV. I'm HIV positive. And people say, oh, do you have HIV? And they feel pity for you. But if you come to Nigeria and you say, I'm HIV positive, I think the way they're going to view you, no one wants to care if you got it through blood transfusion or a sharp object. You must be a promiscuous person. You got it through intercourse. And so there's a judgment already.
Around it.
Then everyone around you is automatically HIV positive. So I don't know if it's a Nigerian mentality. And I want to ask, the issue of stigmatization as regards even this coronavirus, I feel a lot of people who would even suspect that they have it will be afraid to talk. Because once it comes out, their entire family will become suspects. In fact, even the families that stay outside of Benin, let's say the person is in Benin and reported, is a suspect. We don't know if they got it through the phone, but everyone is just being careful. And I also feel even after the whole crisis has stopped, we might not treat the victims or survivors as heroes like we do in cancer patients. We celebrate them. I don't know who started that and made them survivors, and now it's a trend. If you beat cancer, it's a big thing. So how do we deal with the stigmatization that will come after the coronavirus and even during at this stage?
Well, I want to say that about the issue of stigma, we have been doing a lot subconsciously. And one of the measures that people have been taking is there's no secrecy. If you notice around the world, people are not shrouding coronavirus in secrecy. They are not taking it as something they have and should not be spoken about. People are coming out to say, I tested positive for coronavirus. It puts a face to it, and it makes everybody know that we are all vulnerable, big or small, young or old, rich or poor, politician, public, whoever. So this issue is very crucial when it comes to dealing with stigma. Because then you get to look at yourself and say, if this big person can come out and say they have coronavirus, that means it could be anybody. It's not because I'm a bad person, or it's not because, like you said, when they say HIV, the first image that flashes is promiscuous person. Coronavirus is not quite like that. Nonetheless, we have to keep doing more in the media to let people know that they should come forward. For the people who fear that they will be stigmatized if they come forward, they should come forward. You will get help. You will get help for your family or for the contacts. You will safeguard the public, because then we can begin to trace people and say, okay, you tested positive. Yesterday you had a meeting with so person. There were 2 other people there. Let's trace them back to their homes and then make sure that everybody is safe. Fortunately, the government has been publishing. The government has been very active on disclosing positive cases among high-profile individuals in Nigeria. It's not, I don't really want to start mentioning names of people who have tested positive here or tested positive there, but it's not a secret. It's not shrouded in secrecy. When people have to self-isolate, they declare it. Oh, I'm going to self-isolate, so I am so person, I'm going to self-isolate because I came in contact with somebody who has, so person has tested positive. So it helps with the issue of stigmatization. We should really be lending support now to people and trying our best to protect one another. I don't really think that stigmatization related to coronavirus would be anything like HIV, because the virus is, again, like you said, the way it's spread, it could be anybody. It doesn't connote a certain bad lifestyle, which is also wrong for the case of HIV, the stigmatization issue, but that's not the topic for today, so I wouldn't delve into that. Yeah, I just want to use it as an opportunity to put it out there that we shouldn't stigmatize people who have HIV. It's not, we need to show them love and support. So back to topic of the day, I don't think that coronavirus stigmatization would be such serious. A big issue. People are owning it as we speak. So person has it, so person is receiving treatment, so person is isolating. Oh, I have the virus and I'm okay. So person has the virus and is severe. So I think.
Okay, you know, I talked about the stigma thing with someone before the show, and he was saying, have you not noticed that everyone on social media who has said they have the virus is either popular or rich? So who cares? They are very rich. We will never judge them. Even if a rich man says he's HIV positive, we will not feel bad. We won't want to collect money. We'll still go and collect and cover the money with the blood and use it. But if a poor man should say it, man, that poor man's generation is finished. So I don't know, but I personally also believe, I join my belief with Dr. Seremi that it's not going to be as severe as the case of HIV, which, by the way, needs to really drop drastically.
That's not to say we shouldn't still create awareness about coronavirus and ensure that there's no form of stigmatization whatsoever.
Okay. For those who are still thinking about the question of chloroquine, okay, and those who have bought plenty in their houses, we will come back for you. But we have another video for you on from the World Data. It's actually a body, they have a YouTube channel, they get information on health, always on health, not any other statistics. And they've also put together like a video, animation to make it easy, simplified definition, information, all you need to know about the coronavirus. So I'm just going to push play to that video, and when we'll come back, we'll be concluding this show today.
Advice to the public on the coronavirus, also called COVID-19 pandemic. The World Health Organization, WHO, recommends you take the following measures. Know that most people who become infected experience mild illness and recover, but it can be more severe for others. Take care of your health and protect others by doing the following.
Regularly and thoroughly clean your hands with an alcohol-based hand sanitizer or wash them with soap and water. Washing your hands with soap and water or using alcohol-based hand sanitizer kills viruses that may be on your hands.
Maintain at least 1 meter, which is 3 feet distance between yourself and anyone who is coughing or sneezing.
Hands touch many surfaces and can pick up viruses. Once contaminated, hands can transfer the virus to your eyes, nose, or mouth. From there, the virus can enter your body and can make you sick.
Make sure you and the people around you follow good respiratory hygiene. This means covering your mouth and nose with your bent elbow or tissue when you cough or sneeze. Then dispose of the tissue immediately.
Stay home if you feel unwell. If you have a fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical attention and call in advance. Calling in advance will allow your healthcare provider to quickly direct you to the right health facility. If you develop fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical advice promptly, as this may be due to a respiratory infection or other serious condition.
Be informed.
Be prepared.
Be smart.
Be safe.
Be ready to fight COVID-19.
This message is brought to you courtesy Independent Television and Radio.
In December 2019, the Chinese authorities notified the world that a virus was spreading through their communities. In the following months, it spread to other countries, with cases doubling within days. This virus is the severe acute respiratory syndrome-related coronavirus 2 that causes the disease called COVID-19 and that everyone simply calls coronavirus. What actually happens when it infects a human, and what should we all do? A virus is really just a hull around genetic material and a few proteins, arguably not even a living thing. It can only make more of itself by entering a living cell. Corona may spread via surfaces, but it's still uncertain how long it can survive on them. Its main way of spreading seems to be droplet infection, when people cough, or if you touch someone who's ill and then your face, say rubbing your eyes or nose. The virus starts its journey here and then hitches a ride as a stowaway deeper into the body. Its destinations are the intestines, the spleen or the lungs, where it can have the most dramatic effect. Even just a few coronaviruses can cause quite a dramatic situation. The lungs are lined with billions of epithelial cells. These are the border cells of your body, lining your organs and mucosa, waiting to be infected. Corona connects to a specific receptor on its victim's membranes to inject its genetic material. The cell, ignorant of what's happening, executes the new instructions, which are pretty simple: copy and reassemble. It fills up with more and more copies of the original virus until it reaches a critical point and receives one final order: self-destruct. The cell sort of melts away, releasing new corona particles, ready to attack more cells. The number of infected cells grows exponentially. After about 10 days, millions of body cells are infected and billions of viruses swarm the lungs. The virus has not caused too much damage yet, but corona is now going to release a real beast on you, your own immune system. The immune system, while there to protect you, can actually be pretty dangerous to yourself and needs tight regulation. And as immune cells pour into the lungs to fight the virus, corona infects some of them and creates confusion. Cells have neither ears nor eyes. They communicate mostly via tiny information proteins called cytokines. Nearly every important immune reaction is controlled by them. Corona causes infected immune cells to overreact and yell bloody murder. In a sense, it puts the immune system into a fighting frenzy and sends way more soldiers than it should, wasting its resources and causing damage. Two kinds of cells in particular wreak havoc. First, neutrophils, which are great at killing stuff, including ourselves. As they arrive in their thousands, they start pumping out enzymes that destroy as many friends as enemies. The other important type of cells that go into a frenzy are killer T cells, which usually order infected cells to commit controlled suicide. Confused as they are, they start ordering healthy cells to kill themselves too. The more and more immune cells arrive, the more damage they do, and the more healthy lung tissue they kill. This might get so bad that it can cause permanent, irreversible damage that leads to lifelong disabilities. In most cases, the immune system slowly regains control. It kills the infected cells, intercepts the viruses trying to infect new ones, and cleans up the battlefield. Recovery begins. The majority of people infected by corona will get through it with relatively mild symptoms. But many cases become severe or even critical. We don't know the percentage because not all cases have been identified, but it's safe to say that there is a lot more than with the flu. In more severe cases, millions of epithelial cells have died, and with them, the lung's protective lining is gone. That means that the alveoli, tiny air sacs via which breathing occurs, can be infected by bacteria that aren't usually a big problem. Patients get pneumonia, respiration becomes hard or even fails, and patients need ventilators to survive. The immune system has fought at full capacity for weeks and made millions of antiviral weapons. And as thousands of bacteria rapidly multiply, it is overwhelmed. They enter the blood and overrun the body. If this happens, death is very likely. The coronavirus is often compared to the flu, but actually, it's much more dangerous. While the exact death rate is hard to pin down during an ongoing pandemic, we know for sure that it's much more contagious and spreads faster than the flu. There are two futures for a pandemic like corona: fast and slow. Which future we will see depends on how we all react to it in the early days of the outbreak. A fast pandemic will be horrible and cost many lives. A slow pandemic will not be remembered by the history books. The worst-case scenario for a fast pandemic begins with a very rapid rate of infection because there are no countermeasures in place to slow it down. Why is this so bad? In a fast pandemic, many people get sick at the same time. If the numbers get too large, healthcare systems become unable to handle it. There aren't enough resources like medical staff or equipment like ventilators left to help everybody. People will die untreated. And as more healthcare workers get sick themselves, the capacity of healthcare systems falls even further. If this becomes the case, then horrible decisions will have to be made about who gets to live and who doesn't. The number of deaths rises significantly in such a scenario.
Okay, so we couldn't play the entire video for you. We had to cut it short at some point. Maybe next week I would use that video as it's about you, because your body is your responsibility. You need to take good care of it, and I will keep playing that video until the whole coronavirus crisis is done and dealt with totally. I have Dr. Seremi Ibadin in the house with me talking about this. So your last words on our topic today.
Yes, thank you. We need to stay safe. We need to take responsibility, maintain our social distancing. We need to wash our hands with soap and water, use hand sanitizers intermittently throughout the day, at least every 20 minutes, especially if you're about in the public. We also need to ensure that we isolate ourselves if we have any respiratory symptoms, fever, cough, catarrh, sneezing. If we know anybody who we suspect may have this virus or may have come in contact with somebody who tested positive or has a travel history from a country where this virus
is more severe.
We need to report urgently. We need to avoid spreading rumors and only share facts and messages that may be helpful. And you mentioned something about chloroquine, so I'll just talk briefly about that. We know that there's evidence that it may be one of the drugs we can use, but we need to know that we should not self-medicate. Please, nobody should go into their houses and be swallowing chloroquine. You may do more damage to yourself. If you suspect anything, reach out to the appropriate health authorities, and then there's a mechanism that will be activated to get you tested and treated safely. So please do not self-medicate with chloroquine in your houses. Let's cooperate with the government and let's do our part and take responsibility for breaking the transmission of this coronavirus in Edo State and in Nigeria.
Okay, so I'll say thank you for watching. Thank you for coming as well.
Thank you very much.
If you've not learned anything, stop spreading rumors, stop spreading messages of fear, but spread information of how to protect us, on how we can protect ourselves. The numbers you can actually call for suspected cases will be coming up intermittently on other shows in the news and as we go. All right, so thank you. I'm Daisy Leo Asikidi. See you next week.